once more. In light and sun, everything and everyone reborn.
Hey, how's it been? It's been a while since we last spoke. You broke my heart and left me hanging. Hey, how you been? It's been a while. I see you going to new clothes on and changed your hairstyle. You look good and go, but why do I still hurt when I see your feet? Hurt when someone mentions your name. Hurt when I pass by your old place. It's been a year, a lot has changed since then. I made new friends, I got a new pet. You wouldn't believe it. I've been on and on, but why do I still hurt when I'm driving and I'm lost again? Hurt when I'm sick and you're not here. Hurt when you seem like you're just fine without me. Oh, I'm not trying to get you back. Oh, I know we're better when we're not together. Sometimes I think of all the things that could have been different when we were in love. Hurt when I see your feet. Hurt when someone mentions your name. Hurt when I pass by your old place. Hurt when I'm driving and I'm lost again. Hurt when I'm sick and you're not here. Hurt when you seem like you're just fine without me. 어디서부터 참을 수 있을까? 벌어진 틈새를 채울 순 있을까? I don't know what to do. We've already spent too much time. 우린 이미 너무 먼 길을 너에게로부터 가장 먼저 내 마음이 또다시 철없이 널 향하지 않게 far away. 전해줄게.
Good evening, everybody. I forgot that I didn't turn my camera on. We are here with the BPL Season 7 playoffs starting here in the C League. Greetings. Getting ready to head into this Terrapin Noctis game. Very, very close in the standings at 4 and 5. Basically, you know, very similar teams. You told me that Terrapin had beaten Noctis very recently, but now Noctis getting another shot at it to start these playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely here. Both these teams, they've looked pretty decent throughout their standings. We can see that they're at 4-3, 3-4. They're pretty close. Both these teams, they've been able to keep a pretty even map score. There's been a few game threes. And so both these teams right now, they're just vying for that 4th place to be that last team to really punch into the playoffs to meet Oomphy and Goatman.
Yep. So they're, you know, trying to get into that top 6 here. Get a look at our bracket. Of course, Terrapin, Noctis, as you said, the only teams that aren't technically in the playoffs just yet. Gonna go in there as soon as one of these teams can win. The other 5 teams, Log Races and the Bear, the only team to have a scheduled match thus far themselves, the 6 and the 7 seed respectively there. So
yep.
You know, they're trying to keep their seasons alive. I mean, they've been on the edge again. A couple of really close teams in this play-in, of course. So, you know, we're gonna move into a top 5 here very, very soon. Hopefully by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, hopefully by the end of the weekend, we know that we will get all of our teams into the playoffs. For those because this is just the start of the play-in weekend for the top 4. We will see B and A League later in the weekend. But yeah, this is how they'll all look. You'll have your round 1 and 2 of play-ins for those who are lower in the standings, while the number 1 and 2 seeds sit in the upper semis, waiting for their opponents to come in. So both Terrapin and Noctis, whoever wins this game, they make playoffs. Whoever loses is booted out.
Goodbye. Get out.
Bye-bye. We're looking at the Terrapin
hello,
roster.
Terrapin.
Yeah.
Hello, Terrapin. Go ahead.
This is a roster that has, I think, surprised a few people. I would say, from what I've heard from the community, if you haven't been kind of one of these top 3 teams that have looked extremely dominant throughout the season, dropping like barely any maps, the rest of the teams have really been vying for that like 4th place seed, trying to punch up, maybe get a map or something off these top teams. In Terrapin, I think they're at the top of that, fighting to get in. So I'm really curious to see what this roster can do against Noctis, who's looked fairly similar, but a little weaker throughout the regular season.
We've got Feedstacker King Crimson on the DPS Spooky Tim Week on the tank. Pika, P-Sharp, and Kisho Kitty in that back line, looking to repeat their last matchup. They won 2-1 couple of weeks ago over Noctis, as you said earlier. So now we head to the other side of this coin. Noctis trying to get their revenge here. We got Virgil on the DPS, Koi and Oh No on the tank, thinking Hop and Pasty into the back line there. You know, only 1 spot under this Terrapin squad. Still, you know, they're looking for their spot to try and claim a crown here.
Yeah, absolutely. I do know that Noctis does have a ringer for today's match, so that way they can fill in on that DPS position, I believe. We should be getting into the game soon once we are confirmed on the bans. Higher seed is going to get that first ban here. If you didn't watch over on the Moon stream a day or so ago, we did have 1 match already played up in B League. It was the sister team of Terrapin in Bluff Creek. They played Ignite Memories. Bluff Creek did win, and they are now going to be playing Borealis later. So in this series, it goes Control, Hybrid, Push Flash, Escort, and then back to Control. But it can't be the same map. As we see as Nepal in the first one, it cannot be Nepal if it goes back to a map 5.
Yeah, just old school, right? Headed back to, you know, pre-push days, right? or pre-Flashpoint, I guess. Control twice in a series potentially. Our bans going to be Ramatra and Genji. Two pretty impactful bans. I think Ramatra is incredibly strong on most of Nepal, if not all three sub-maps, right? Same can be said for Genji. I don't think it's quite to the same extreme as what we see out of Ramatra, that Brawl being so powerful, but Genji is so consistent across the board. Good damage, nice burst, and very mobile. So, you know, I don't blame, you know, Terrapin for wanting this Genji out here early. I do like both of these bans, frankly.
Yeah, both bans very good here. As you said, both these characters are incredible on Nepal. They're great on all the maps. I imagine both teams are really vying for that first map win. I think momentum is a gigantic thing in a series, in a best of 5. Being able to get that first map under your belt, be able to kind of get that selection going, it's going to be very nice. And so I like the strong bans coming out in the map 1.
Yeah, and that is something also worth knowing. You know, we already talked about the maps being what they are. You know, the 2 sandwiches by the 2 controls, but it is a first to 3 now, right? The whole regular season has been first to 2s, so you only needed to win 2 maps, max of 3, 4 if you drew. But I never casted any matches that had a draw in it, so 3 was always the max for the regular season. It's how it always is with BPL, right? But now that we are in the playoffs, or I guess more specifically play-ins here for the C League, it is going to be first to 3. So I mean, the bans are going to start to stack up as we get late into the series, right? Things that you can't ban anymore, like, you know, you get to a max of 10 characters banned during a first to 3 versus 6 in a first to 2. So, you know, you're going to have to start playing around with some creativity the longer that this series goes. And with the way that their last matchup did go, this series could be a decently long one.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think as the series goes on, maybe the specific ban itself is a little less important and more of it as protection. Protect banning maybe a support for, like, you know, okay, we're gonna get to this point and maybe we get this one map that, like, we play Zen on and we don't play Zen really on the other stuff, and so we can protect ban once we start to get over to there. So the ban stack, it needs to be thought up of, but that doesn't mean you should just not use a ban.
Yeah, no, you have to be smart. It's such a strong tool, right? Of course, this is, I think, the first season of BPL that has had bans.
I believe so.
Because bans have been, you know, made the norm in Overwatch esports. It's a really strong tool, right? We didn't get to see much because it seems like there was a bit of an issue with the, well, I guess the bans not actually being in the game, which we're going to get that fixed right away. But I mean, it's such a powerful tool it's like a, you know, it's like a trap card, right? You know, you turn it around on your opponents. You know, if they want to play something, you want to play something. You can maybe ban what they want to play, or, like you said, protect what you want to play by banning something that doesn't matter. Like, you want to play Brig, you think they're going to ban Brig, you ban Mercy, right? So as we head in here, of course, without Ramatra, the other strong rush option is going to be the pick. It's going to be Orisa from either side. Koi, well known for the Pharah, of course. Feedstacker and Virgil hovering the Sojourn. Baptiste on both sides. Major differences, Tim and Koi. Tracer, Pharah, and then Hope and Kisho on the Juno and the Lucio. So both teams have speed. I guess we will have to see which idea is going to come out on top.
Yeah, looks like just a speed ring out of spawn to get here. Koi has actually been playing tank this entire season. So this is, I think, the first time we'll get to see him actually play DPS.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for the side of Noctis, early losing on a significant amount of healing as Koi rains hell down from the sky, trying to keep them in this fight. Finds one themselves. Will end up going down there to Feedstacker. It's a very, very scrappy fight here to start off this Nepal map, but oh no, looks to clean it up with picks onto Kisho and Feedstacker, and despite the first pick, it will be Noctis taking this first flip.
Yeah, I think the fact that Noctis had both the Curie and the BAP meant that even though both sides lost their BAPs, I mean, the output from a Lucio versus a Curie is just complete night and day from both damage output and support, and so the team was just able to continue the fight longer.
Right. You know, the closest is going to be Hope on this Curie with that ultimate. But Spooky and Tim Week are getting busy in the backline as Spooky comes out of nowhere. And it's basically the Spooky and Tim show here on Nepal as they take their flip just after the 30% mark for Noctis.
Yeah, it was a good start there from Terrapin. They managed to get the side angle set, able to pincer out onto that back line, and now we see Koi going over matching the Tracer here. I'm curious to see Terrapin, Noctis, they've got pretty even ults across the board. Noctis a tiny bit ahead on the support ults, but Lamp has already been forced in main due to a really good spear, and it looks like they're going to try to take the side angle as Tim looks for a pulse bomb on the back.
Tim sees the target, looking for it, avoids the rail shot. Okay, going to get Sky very, very low there as Feedstacker will clean that one up. The Kitsune rushes down. Koi, having switched over to the Tracer, punches Feedstacker right in the jaw. Spooky's Terra Surge not going to find a whole lot. Pulse Bomb will manage to catch the pinky toe of Hope there in the front line. Sound barrier down from Kisho Kitty, trying to keep Terrapin in this fight, and will do so beautifully as Tim continues to go on this absolute tear.
Yeah, Tim just played fantastic there. We even saw like Koi was managing to stay in the fight for an extremely long time, but just Kisho getting that good late beat out just made sure no one else died. They could sustain it. And then Noctis, they just had too many resources forced in that fight. I mean, we saw like the bell, we see the lamp, both were gone by the time the fight really started.
We all know where Noctis is coming from, and it seems like a Terrapin is smart to that fact as well. Gonna try and get the proof. Unfortunately, that's an Orisa. Not exactly easy to kill those off the map, and wow.
Just a window fight, and Noctis comes out on top.
Sure, I guess. Like, what even? I couldn't even tell what was happening there.
I'm pretty sure what happened was that the windows got dropped, and then Koi was already on a side angle mega side and stuck the BAP, which forced Lamp and got the BAP 1, and then just one kunai through the window from Hops just took the head off the BAP and just killed him instantly.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very interesting fight to watch for sure, and a very back and forth map as we head into a pause. We'll let you know what's up with that as soon as we get. Okay, so that'll do it. That'll do it.
Sometimes cats eat the power cord. We've all been there. If you've ever had a cat before, I swear, they like to step on the power button. They like to sit on the desk. They like to lay on the mouse. I know when I had a cat, she would jump up on my PC on the tower and just step right on the power button, just mid-scrim. So cats, they love to interrupt games.
Yeah, the cats are incredibly nosy.
Very nosy.
They like thinking that they own the place, and most of the time they do. I mean, it's not wrong of them. As we look back at what was going on here, Solomon doing his job excellently, gave us a little bit of information at the pause. Of course, Noctis had just come in with that Sky Amp Matrix to put themselves in control of the point. It's 87 Terrapin, 40% to Noctis. The only ultimate on the board right now is going to be Virgil's Overclock. Tim, of course, getting pretty close to a pulse bomb themselves, but...
Alright, looks like power cord restored. Hopefully no cats were harmed in the making of that corn. But it looks like, yeah, Terrapin, they look a bit ahead. Virgil gonna pop the ult early here. This is good, just forcing initial pressure here, getting Terrapin out of main. It looks like a lot of resources has been forced. This might result in the kill, but it looks like Terrapin's able to fully just get away from that OC.
Yeah, well, here is Tim Week finding a pick with the pulse bomb. Virgil not able to slide away there. going to be a very, very tough fight to win here for Noctis. They don't have much. That OC needed something, got a nothing, and now with Terrapin flipping at just about the 90% mark, you know, you can see the attempt at the stall from Koi, but this is going to be a really tough, you know, map to win here for Noctis at this point.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to take a lot from this team to be able to not only touch, but be able to like just get anything done. And Hops just gets taken down on the side here. Amazing aggressive play, and it just looks like this is just a cleanup from Terrapin.
Yeah, Koi coming in, trying to find something, gonna find one, but no longer having that recall available puts an end swiftly to this first sub map. Terrapin takes it 100 to 81%. I mean, very, very competitive, very, very close. I think that Terrapin just managed their resources a little bit better than Noctis in the end. They did a very good job at forcing those resources out of Noctis, forcing the ultimates when they didn't really need them. And Terrapin did a beautiful job taking advantage of those mistakes from Noctis to take that map in the end.
Yeah, I think you took the words right out of my mouth. I was actually just going to say, Noctis, it always felt like they were down something when the fight started. It could have been a Bell. It could have been Lamp. It could have even been like the flex DPS forced off the side angle. It just always felt like the team was like a tiny bit behind. I'd love to see Noctis be more proactive about taking safe distance to the objective, stabilizing a bit more to get their resources back.
A little bit of a switch up here. Virgil no longer on the Sojourn, now on to the Freya as Koi returns back to that signature Pharah. Not the worst place in the world to play that feed stacker. Needed to use the slide to get up to the high ground, does not have it to get away from Koi, so splash damage will claim the life of the Terrapin DPS here. And the same thing can be said about Spooky. Unfortunately, Virgil does end up being the one to clean that one up, but it will be Noctis pretty easily taking this first fight here on Village.
Yeah, Noctis's comp, the styles that they like to play, it's a bit more of that like brawl poke mixture, anchoring around that Orisa and BAP. And so a map like this just feels really good for the style that they like to play. And so them being able to just take over the high ground, pressure into the side angle, and really just force out the big piece of that Sojourn, kind of the only thing they have to pressure out the poke in contest in that Pharah as well. It was just a really good first fight from them.
Yeah, I mean, Koi, even if we haven't seen like a lot of the Pharah from them this season, as they've been on the tank, ever since I started casting, you know, BPL, Tranquility, all these leagues where Koi does play, I've known the guy to play Pharah. The guy's disgusting on the Pharah.
Oh yeah, I've definitely heard he's been the DPS player. It was just for this season. He has mainly been playing the tank. It looks like Terrapin in this time has found their way to the objective, started to pressure it. Noctis, they've dropped off the high. We can see Virgil and Sky and Hop, a lot of people low on this team. And they managed to pick it up a Koi. Amazing trade right when the team needed it.
Yeah, well, Terrapin has locked down the objective. Both teams have 4 players with Tim Wheat getting active, as we saw so many times on that first point. Now looking toward Virgil here, as Virgil is the last man standing, will fall to C Sharp, and Terrapin, having taken the point there during the middle of that fight, will just continue to rack up the points.
Yeah. The big thing that Terrapin did there that was really good is they managed to cross when the damage from Koi and Virgil wasn't as big. You know, they were reloading, took the speedy angle with the amp, managed to keep someone main to be able to distract and kill the Pharah eventually. It was just a good play for a rotate.
Okay, forcing out that immortality field from Sky. Tim very happy to take advantage with that, even if that pulse bomb mistake did not result in a kill. Feed Stacker now going to try and take advantage of the amp matrix, and Noctis not even going to try to mess with it here as Koi goes over the top. Ooh, 5 HP and a dream for Koi as the Kitsune Rush comes down from Hope to try and get back onto this objective, now under duress by the Tim Weak Tracer, forced out there, but Feed Stacker will decapitate Hope, and this should be will not be a kill. The rocket barrage comes down, but oh no!
So
Willing
good.
to hold that Terra Surge down and takes down Kisho and Spooky here. Now trying to ward off the demons from the outside, and will manage to do just that to take back the objective.
It was such a scrappy fight there. We could see that just the little bit of picks. Feed Stacker, you know, he hasn't been in the kill feed a ton because of how like lights out Tim Week is done, but Feed Stacker, he's been getting so much damage output in for Tim to capitalize on, and we saw it really come through on that point.
All right, well, it has another pulse bomb ready to go. You know they want to get that immortality field out. Kisho Kitty throws it down the sound barrier on the objective as Spooky tries to take care of this Orisa. Immortality field comes out from Sky. Great healing to keep Ono in this fight despite taking so much damage from that pulse bomb. Now, Spooky basically alone on the objective. They're trying to track down Hope on that Lucio. Will be able to find that kill, but it's Koi from the skies once again, doing so much damage with that rocket launcher. Timwick trying to keep this objective locked down as long as possible, but Noctis will take back over.
Yeah, I think a big thing that has been really happening here, Terrapin hasn't actually won really any fight. It has just been the fact that they've won one fight and have always managed to just barely sneak the flip away from the Noctis roster. And so look at how high that percentage is when Noctis has won nearly every fight.
Well, Timweek's not gonna like having to use this recall here. Okay.
Really good shots.
Timweek just tracked down by Koi on that Pharah. As we see it again, the rotation back to the objective by Terrapin. Even if this flip comes through, it is final fight territory, 99-96. Oh no, with the Terra Surge going to control this objective, and Spooky actually going to find the pick as the rocket barrage comes down. Koi AD strafing into the air. Great job to finish off Spooky even through the Terra Surge. The pulse bomb will stick, but the fight will not be theirs. Noctis will even up the score here on Village.
Noctis did a really good job of just having consistent pressure on this Terrapin roster, being able to always kind of bully, not really the Orisa out, but on this backline. I think we saw a lot of times where Kisho was just being shot at by either a Pharah or a Freya, and it was just really tough for them to get safe crosses without using like everything from this Terrapin backline.
All right, once again, we see a slight difference here. Of course, Hope remaining on that Lucio, but the big one is that Virgil is now hovering the Hanzo, so a little bit more long range than the Freya, a little bit more pokey, a little bit more one-shot potential, of course.
That's really good on this Sanctum map, able to just fire these long sight lines, and just, you only need one Hanzo arrow to connect to like win a fight. And that's, yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
Tim is decapitated there by Virgil as Koi heads to the ceiling, putting pressure on Feed Stacker and C Sharp, cleaning up. That is a body shot from Virgil, taking down C Sharp. And, Koi is trying to, dance around these shields. Both those shields a little bit annoying, but Spooky does end up falling. Timweek is probably, going to take it down to Virgil with the help of Feed Stacker on the objective. Koi gets around the corner. Timweek cleans it up.
And this dynamic DPS duo of Timweek Feed, they've turned a fight that realistically should have not been possible to win from Terrapin into a fight that's looking pretty likely to go their way as long as SkyJ doesn't go down. But Disruptor.
Okay, Sky does go down. Koi has returned to the fight, but a nice little shot there from Feed Stacker will help C Sharp put him down. And finally, after 2 minutes of fighting, probably less than that, it will be Terrapin that takes the first flip.
The big thing there that just happened was Noctis had good picks and good pressure, but they just didn't go aggressive enough after they got that. I mean, you get rid of the Tracer, the side angle gets freed up, you put enough pressure onto the main line and get rid of some of the main support, and you should just be more aggressive at that point.
All right, well, here we go. I just saw Kisho Kitty trying to find a pick by knocking him off the edge. Unfortunately, the one person that they saw was Koi. So now we get into this fight with the overclock ready to go from Feedstacker. You know they're salivating at the idea of popping this ultimate as soon as possible. And here we go, OC out from Feedstacker. Not quite connecting the shots, unfortunately, as everybody that he would target gets around the corner. Koi trying to pump in the damage. Terra Surge down. Oh no, cleans it up, but with Koi down, it's, I think, just Virgil and oh no trying to keep this fight going as Sky returns to the fight. And now past the half-century mark, Koi gives up on the fair experiment.
I think the Fire was doing a lot of really good pressure there. It was just a tough thing of Terrapin. They would let Koi get past, but then completely deny his team entry, so there was no one to help him.
Well, here is Terra Surge from Spooky. Need a big immortality field, but C# is... Okay. Wow. I'm not even really sure how Ono got into that scenario, but it's a nice little stick from Spooky there.
Yeah, definitely going up to his namesake there. Oh no was the exact thing I was about to say when I saw that spear come out.
Well, Koi and Timweek, I think they know. Chat,
I think they're waiting
know.
for each other around this corner.
I think they know.
They are.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, holding angles like it's Valorant here, except for playing Tracer, and it's nothing like Valorant. Koi and Tim going absolutely ballistic on the Mega Health Pack. Immortality field, nowhere to be found. Virgil finds a couple of beautiful shots there on the Feedstacker, and Noctis took them a while, but they get the job done here. They finally have control.
And theoretically, at this point, Noctis should have the better comp to hold this positioning. The cast a lot better at that close to medium range, being able to apply that consistent pressure and deny angles. And Terrapin, they're going to need to find a way to break through this. They have a pulse bomb as their entry ticket, and let's see if it gets cashed in, and it does.
Yep, gets that immortality field out, so important there for the side of Noctis. Cannot help hope. The same cannot be said for Koi, unfortunately, but still putting the pressure on here, on to Feedstacker. Oh, and just the fade away melee puts Koi out of commission. And you know what, Greetings? I do believe that that's going to be this first map here going the way of Terrapin. It's going to be desperate times here for Noctis if they can get a touch.
Yeah, you could see Hops was just hiding there at the bottom, but managed to get scouted out for the touch. And I feel like it's going to take more than a miracle for Noctis to win this fight.
Yeah, Virgil is here on the Sombra, but there's not a whole lot of hope to be found there. Will count down. We're gonna see the Terra Surge come out, and it's a Terra Surge in alone basically. So yeah, it was as we said it was. Terrapin wins map number 1, finally putting a little bit of distance between themselves and Noctis there on that final map of Sanctum. What was it, 100 to like 40, something like that?
Yeah, about.
So yeah, I mean they put a little bit of distance between them. Kind of definitively won that map in the end, but we did see Noctis fight quite hard.
Yeah, if you're Terrapin here, you're glad that you got that first map momentum under your belt, but it was a little shaky. I mean, we saw Noctis fight pretty hard for those first 2 points. Third point, there were a few unfortunate picks that came out at bad times from the side of Noctis, but Terrapin, you definitely have to really buckle up and get ready for the second map. Just really be able to get a stronger map win, because that was very close.
Yeah, I mean, everything was in the hands of Terrapin to start the series out. First pick, first ban, right? So now it's going to be up to Noctis where we go for map number 2. You'll have to excuse me. I forgot what the second map type was supposed to be.
It is hybrid.
Hybrid, okay.
And we can see with the hybrid, there's a couple maps the teams can choose from. We have the ability to go to, here it is. With the hybrid, we can go to Hollywood, Blizzard World, Numbani, and Eichenwald. I'm curious to see what Noctis will end up taking us to, because their style isn't insanely different from Terrapin, but I think that they could take better advantage of their poke, going to maybe a Blizzard World even the Eichenwald. I think just playing more off of the spammage would be good.
We're playing
is the
dive. We're playing dive.
Well, maybe we're playing dive.
I don't think we're playing dive.
I think we're playing Orisa still.
I do too. I can't imagine we strayed too far, as we do know what our first ban is going to look like. It's going to be Freya being banned by Terrapin. Okay.
I think that the Freya was doing decent. I'm a little surprised this is where the Pharah ban didn't come out, because Numbani is a pretty solid Pharah map, especially on that first point. There's a lot of good like cover for Pharah to just be annoying around. But still, the Freya, it was annoying. It's very clear that Terrapin, they want to play the Sojourn. They want to keep it a bit more grounded, and so it's still not a bad ban. I'm curious what Noctis responds with here. It looks like the Kiri is going to come out. Okay.
They were the team that played Kiri last map.
They were, but they must have an idea.
Sure.
They must have a plan.
I'm not going to question it because I'm not in their comms, right? But I do think it's a little surprising, in my opinion, because Hope did really want to, or I guess it is Hop. They did really want to play into that Kiri a little more. They were on Kiri and Lucio for most of that map. Juno to speed out of spawn. So it is interesting, in my opinion. I'm a little bit. I'm probably leaning towards the fact that Hop's gonna, get back over onto the Lucio for the most part. I think that's probably where they are going to go, and I think as we were talking about earlier, we were joking about. I don't imagine we see anything too different from what we saw on Nepal, even if Numbani is like an entirely different map. Gameplay wise, it's going to be a lot of high ground control in the first 2 points from the Orisa, especially if we don't end up seeing the dive.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see what dive these teams play if they are going to go over to it. I know Monkey hasn't been insanely popular in C. I think we've been seeing a bit more of just those grounded tanks overall. I mean, I guess with the Kiri ban also, maybe they're really trying to put emphasis on like Ana. Maybe they feel very confident about like the nades that they're going to go for and just don't want it to be cleansed. They clearly have some idea if they're going Numbani and banning the Kiri though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like, like I said, I'm not on the team, right? I can't read their minds, what they're thinking. Because I will be the first to admit, unfortunately, I know a lot of these names, but I haven't been like super tuned in. So, I don't think that they would ban Kiriko without seriously talking about it. Especially if Hop is not going to want to play that Kiriko on Numbani. I'm interested, as we seem to be a little bit slow on the uptake here for the okay, no, we have subs is what I think is taking so long here. Terrapin Pika is coming in for Kisho Kitty, and Pasty is coming in for Ono on the tank. So with a tank sub for the side of Noctis, I think it does become more likely that we see something closer to dive. Whether it's I don't know if it'll be the Winston. It could be Diva or even Hazard, right? But with a tank sub, I do think that it is more likely that we see something different and unique from what we saw on Nepal from them.
Yeah, I definitely would say it wouldn't make as much sense to sub out your tank and then just still play like a hard brawl comp. Of course, there are those playtime rules that we do have to play around in these sets. Every player needs to play at least a map if they are there. But yeah, as you said, we're probably going to see a little more resemblance of dive on this Numbani map with these FOPs.
Yeah, headed in here very, very soon. I wouldn't. Very, very interesting. Yeah, okay. So
we are going to see the Winston.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Hazard coming in for the side of Terrapin. maybe we didn't give these teams enough credit, right?
Yeah.
For wanting to play the dive. Because Spooky is on that hazard, of course, you know, pretty strong, you know, dive-ish tank in his own right. But Pasty is on a Winston. Like,
yeah, we get the Winston. The Noctis roster, this is dive. This is like a pretty standard newer dive. You've got the Ashe coming in instead. You still have the Tracer. You've got the Ana Brig with the Monkey. Maybe, honestly, like, if you know Terrapin is going to not want to play a Monkey style and is instead going to play this hazard, then the Kyrko ban becomes a lot better, and like the reasoning, because Ana with hazard isn't as good as Kiri.
all right, well, here we go. All shall be answered here on Numbani. Tim Week from the low ground. Has to play it safe. Does not want to get zapped to death by Pasty there on the Winston. Cannot deflect that Tesla. Cannon, Spooky, anti-dub, has to back down. I mean, Virgil getting incredibly low, but a nice bit of heal there from the supports, and Pasty, unfortunately, does end up going down. Wow. Almost full comboing that Tracer. Tim Week trying to keep up with Koi, but Koi a little bit too quick on the uptake. Now looking for Feed Stacker. Pasty comes in for the assist. Slam dunk over Feed Stacker, and the remaining players, I guess I should say the support specifically, going to be forced to, run tail tucked.
Yeah, Noctis did a really good job there. Even though they lost Virgil early, you could see Koi was just doing such a good job hard pressuring at that right side angle that they managed to take out Tim. And then when Feed got low, just finished him off as well. So really good side angle control.
Yeah, I mean, Tim having to play their life very, very closely. Feed Stacker, though, will be able to open this up with a beautiful pick on to Hope. C Sharp will meet the same fate as their mirror, right? So neither team has the Ana here. Pasty is incredibly low. Has to go grab that health pack, as, you know, without Hope, and especially now that Sky has gone, it will be incredibly tough. Just a bit of a yeet there from Koi. Tried to, you know, save the day. Koi will be able to survive hiding in the bubble of Pasty there. Virgil does get taken down, but not before Pika meets the same fate there. Feedstacker finds a couple, now 3 with the overclock, slides in, takes everyone out. And, you know, a little bit of a different story from the first map, right? It was always Tim in the kill feed, but now it's Feedstacker.
Yeah, I think that so far what's happened is Tim has kind of been just shut out on this side angle. Koi's been doing a really good job pressuring. But when it comes down to like the Ashe versus the Sojourn, it's just a lot easier for the Ashe to pressure, it's a lot easier for the Sojourn to pressure out the Ashe. And so Feed's just able to get so many kills. And Tim goes a little too aggressive, and Koi just quickly disposes of him. And we're over to the Torb now, which I honestly really like on this point.
Yeah, Virgil abandoning the Ashe experiment. As, you know, Tim Week is already back in this fight. Pasty has the Primal Rage. They've got both support ultimates for Noctis. 4 ultimates up as the Nano Boost comes out on to Pasty. Tim Week is the one hunted down. Not exactly having the standout performance that we saw on Nepal. What a sleep. Will force the Primal Rage out of Pasty here. Nice little juggle there on to Pika, as, I mean, Koi and Pasty getting active in this backline. Pasty does go down, but the damage, Greetings, it's already been done here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, genuinely, that was like a very good juggle. You saw juggling a Juno, even if she doesn't have flight, is not easy. And so being able to clean up that kill and then secure the second one onto the Sojourn, I mean, the team should be able to hold this, as you can already see Pasty is back.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, what an disruptor shot there by Feedstacker, right? It dealt so much damage before Spooky even had to go in. The Nano Blade did come out there, and didn't really find a whole lot, just following up all the damage that Spooky and Feedstacker had done, but it is enough to swiftly put them into this third objective.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if Feedstacker, as you said earlier, has just been playing like pretty lights out this match. I know we haven't seen, this match hasn't gone on for a super long time due to how good Terrapin has been playing, but like, If you're Noctis here, like, yes, you've been controlling the side angle really well, and like the front line, you know, it's been doing fine. But how are you going to shut down Feed Stacker?
Well, you know, take out one of their, you know, players will help a little bit. Feed Stacker hasn't really been too worried about that as of recent, but it will force Terrapin to play it safe here.
Yeah. We can see Virgil goes low, Spooky jumps in, loses the armor, Feed Stacker pops that ult that's done so much before, and we can see this manages to grab 2, but the Brig barrier lasts just long enough in the rally to keep 2 people alive, and Feed Stacker 1. Nano comes out onto Pasty. Everyone is so low on Terrapin, and I think this is going to be the fight.
Yeah, I mean, as Pasty comes in and cleans up here, beautiful Nano onto the Winston. It was a combination of that rally from Sky and the Virgil Molten Core, right? It kept Terrapin off their backline.
It was just a really good combo. Like, you can't get any of the shots through that Brig shield. It's going to take like at least 3-4 shots from that right click. And then even if you do, like, where are you going to walk? The entire ground is literally lava.
All right, well, now Koi is in the backline with Pasty. Feed Stacker incredibly low. Can't quite find the pick there as Spooky heads back in. Koi, a little bit of crouch spamming in the backline. Here is the jump sleep. Will not connect, but Koi helps to clean up a C-Sharp. Primal Rage popped, trying to knock them out of this orbital ray. It's not a great thing losing Virgil there, unfortunately. But Pasty and Koi remain on this objective. They're going to try and get rid of this Juno. Pika will fall, but it's pretty firmly in the hands of Terrapin here as Orange talks some trash. Well, not trash, but...
Koi drops a little late there. We can see that Noctis, now they swapped over to basically old school dive. You've got the Genji and the Tracer. They're going for the touches. Terrapin's roster is super bulky now. We can see that they just have such an ult advantage that Noctis, if they want to win this, they need to go fast. And they are going fast, and they're going first, but
well,
it's
here's
just so much of an
rally, the downpour, not enough. I mean, no ultimates even particularly close here for Noctis. I mean, that was just a beautiful nano downpour, and then a blizzard to clean it up on the point itself. Beautifully done to clean it up there from Terrapin. They knew exactly what their win con was. They finish it with over a minute.
Yeah, just honestly really good. I think, you know, props also, they got to Noctis. They were able to, on that third point, really slow down the pace of Terrapin. Because, I mean, Terrapin, they came into that third point. It was basically like 4 minutes on the clock. They had a bit of an ult advantage. But Noctis, they started to play faster. We could see that Pasty and Koi started to just go on the Ana every single time she was in burst distance. And they drained more or less 3 minutes off that clock, which is just really good from them based on how bad that second point was.
All right. Doesn't seem like a whole lot is going to change here as we head over to the other side of this map. I can't imagine Sky stays on the Lucio for forever. Maybe just speed out of spawn. But Tim actually going over to the Reaper, going to try and keep Pasty in check. Had a little bit of trouble with the help of that. Okay, so, you know, ignore what I said about things not changing a whole lot.
We're seeing a lot of change.
Yeah.
They're putting the eggs into the Pharah basket, I think.
Yeah, and then, you know, Tim is on the Reaper, of course, as I was trying to say before they got silly. So,
and,
you know, we're going to see a Pharmercy.
I think,
Sure.
You know, we talked a little bit about maybe not seeing dive on this map, and we saw a good round of dive. You know, Noctis, they played like more traditional old school style. They've completely thrown that out the window, and now they're just saying, okay, we're just going to have the Pharah just kill.
Yeah, Koi, go do Koi things, all right? Should be good enough, right? Unfortunately, Hop is dead, so that's not exactly peak, as Tim Week and Pacey are actually going at it, and Tim is on the losing side. So has to run away, and Pasty does end up finding that pick as Koi continues to put in damage from this side.
Man, these damage boosted Pharah rockets, like we saw they didn't even like fully connect, but just a damage boosted Pharah rocket splashing into you is still doing like half your HP and just Pasty was doing such a good job. I mean, clearly he just beat the Reaper through pure Winston gameplay.
You know what? The fair basket giveth.
The fair basket giveth, and it looks like the Winston. Oh my God, the fair literally just barely saves Pasty's life. You can see the fire rocket, it just kind of come out of nowhere, get Pika right on the forehead.
God, it's nice to see this some classic Koi action. It's been a long time since I've got to see Koi on this Pharah. Almost a year now.
Yeah, and this was my first time seeing Koi on the Pharah. You know, he is part. This is a sister team to the team that I'm on. But Koi, they've been on tank this entire time, finally being able to literally spread their wings on this pharmacy here. And that first point win as well as possible. I mean, Terrapin, Tim, just gets off the Reaper. It just needs to go Soldier to do something about Koi in the air.
And I mean, Pika's just dead. Like what are you supposed to do at that point? Because Koi is direct shotting from halfway across the planet with that damage boosted. There is no damage follow-up on those rockets. C# getting dove there. They did pop the Valkyrie here as Spooky goes down, gets exploded by the rocket barrage there of Koi. And I mean, they are just smooth sailing through the streets of Numbani.
Yeah, Noctis, I think they've found what is done really well for them.
Point, guys.
Yeah, the point does need to get moved here. There was a good position to that. And Sky just managed to get taken out. Pulse Bomb goes a bit wide there from Virgil. There's going to be a touch from the side of Terrapin as the team just starts to back out here. And Terrapin, this is what they kind of needed to get back into this.
Noctis just tossed that.
And Koi
You've
gets
got
an
to get on the
exit
point. You've got to get on the point. Like,
I don't know how Sky died also at the beginning of that fight. Okay, you know what? We're climbing is tough. It's fine. Just take the stairs.
Yeah. You know what? It's that's not the stairs. Doesn't want to try it.
We'll just sit on the ground.
Here we go. Orbital Ray ready to go for Hop here. Orbital Ray ready for Pika. They've got 4 for the side of Terrapin, 3 for the side of Noctis.
Side angle being established, looking to force out. Orbit coming down from the main. Nano going out onto Spooky as well here. We can see this Soldier needs to go down, and it looks like trades are even so far.
But C# with the help of the Nano boost there, now going in. Nice little sleep there onto Koi, who gets pulled down now. Going to be a 2 versus 1. Now a 1 versus 1. A little bit of extra health here for Pasty. This Hazard can jump back onto the objective, trying to knock them off of the point with the juggles. Unfortunately, not as clean as they could have been, but the reinforcements are here. If I don't know where I'm going, you don't know where I'm going, but the Tesla cannon does. Don't need to aim at that super duper well. So Tim Weeks, look at the floor and run around. It doesn't exactly work out as they tap the point.
Yeah, and it looks like their Noctis, they managed to turn it around. You know, they used a good amount of ultimates there. Terrapin, though, Pika never got the chance to use their ult because even though they lasted a good amount of time, like, no one was alive by the time they wanted to pop the ult.
All right, here we go. Into the final objective here for the side of Noctis as Koi assists with taking down that Soldier 76. Sojourn also falls because Koi and Pasty, doesn't matter whether Koi is on the Pharah or the Tracer, this DPS duo is, or rather this duo, not quite DPS duo, but they are far too much to deal with.
Yeah. It looks like Noctis, they've thrown all the eggs into this fire basket, and like Terrapin, they're fighting against it. They're doing as much as they can. But really, at this point, amazing pick out here. That's exactly what you need to turn this in the favor of Terrapin for the size point.
Koi's not ready to give this one up yet. Virgil and Koi on the objective. Valkyrie in from Sky for some reason. Down 2 players. Virgil and Koi are dead. Sky will be able to get away, maybe? Okay, yeah, it does end up flying away. So Noctis does lose out on that ultimate, but they do still have 2.5 minutes left.
Yeah, it's looking good here on the side of Terrapin. They've stabilized this out. They have a minute in the bank if this goes to an additional round. And it currently is just looking like Noctis maybe building up a little bit. They've got the ults they need. As we can see, Timweek maybe trying to get the assassination off onto this Juno so low. Just manages to get out, and now they're pressuring the Tracer, but Sky goes down.
Sky is dead, yeah. And now, Tim, there's a couple of rockets there. I don't know if you noticed that. So no problem here for Koi, as you know, they get very, very close to completing this map. It's just Pika left at the Primal Rage, ready to go for this Winston, as we're going to see Pulse Bomb down. Could keep this fight rolling here. Tim forced to use the recall. Primal Rage ready to go. Pacey doesn't want to pop it just yet, wants to wait until that health gets a little bit lower. Koi comes back in, takes down Timweek, pops the Primal Rage now does. Pacey finds the juggle on to Feed Stacker. The time's getting very, very close. The juggles, the Primal Blade from Pacey, 3 from the Primal Blade. Pacey cleans up a 4th. Virgil does end up cleaning up their mirror, and with 1 second to spare, they finish the map with just a bit more time.
A just fantastic plays from the side of Noctis there. Just so much went in their way of just the plays that they made. Literally a 1 second difference. In Terrapin, they fought that close. I mean, if Noctis kind of fell apart on that first and second point, I'd say on their defense, they completely did the opposite on their offense. They managed to have just a really lights out point 1. They pushed it through point 2 with a little bit of issue. And then at point 3, that's when their time bank got stalled. Both these teams, it just took so long for them to break through that 3rd point, but they had such a big time bank to do it.
Set it over here, of course. We know how much the egg basket, or the Farah basket, I guess, it has been paying off there. They've been selling those golden eggs for a lot of money for Noctis right now. So Terrapin will be on the attack first. Not much going to change here. Still going to be on a Juno, Hazard, Genji, Sojourn. Virgil once again piloting a different hero. Going over to the Soldier 76 on the defense here. So we'll see if that one pays off. I'm not sure just how much I think I believe in the Soldier 76 here, is instantly having to run around the corner there. Probably took a shot there from either Tim or Feed, as Spooky heads up to the high ground. Koi trying to find some of these off angles.
Alrighty, first pick comes out from Koi here, looking really good. Timweek barely not able to kill. Listen, we've all been there. We've all been there. We've all been there.
That's just some Soldier 76 stuff. Look down to the ground, run in a circle. It worked a little bit better there for Virgil than it did for Tim when he did it. Pacey able to get around the corner there, stay alive, but Koi's dead.
Yeah, Koi is dead there, and I think that's all Terrapin need to be able to walk in. Alrighty, it looks like the very end of this match is about to come out as Noctis. They might be able to close it out. Everyone is so low from the side.
Noctis on the defense. Spooky trying to keep it going here with that spike wall. But now it is just C# left. A nice little sleep there onto Pasty, but it's basically pretty much cosmetic. It looked cool. Didn't amount to a whole lot there, as now the onus is on Noctis on the attack to win this map.
Yeah. It is pretty dang close here, as both sides, they're just looking to be able to close this out. And if you're Noctis, you put yourself in a pretty dang good spot to do this, because no matter what, you can't lose from here. Like, this map is technically, not even technically, this map is unlosable. Because
categorically unlosable.
Yeah, Terrapin didn't get a single percentage.
Okay, so Tim, I'm hoping to see a little bit more out of the replay than what I saw last time, bud. Losing a 1v1 to a Winston isn't exactly great, as Greetings, you're looking a lot different now, Greetings.
Hey, it's me, Greetings.
Hello. All right, hello, Headrummer.
Yeah, I'll be taking Greetings' place. They had to go for a scrim, and you're now stuck with me. And like I said, there's really only get like potentially 2 fights in all this.
Yeah, I mean, this Noctis comp is going to be quick, right? They're relying a lot on Koi, as you know, Far Mercy has been paying off, we'll say, for the side of Noctis. Now we see Tim trying to take care of this with the volleys, but no Wraith form means Tim has to play it safe, can't get into that comfortable range where Reaper becomes a menace on that Winston. Not finding much as Koi and Sky go around to the backside of the map.
Yeah, and this Soldier might be a little difficult to get in position with where they're playing right now. The Tracer before I thought was actually putting on a good bit of pressure, but the Pharmacy has found its way over to the back line.
Pika needs to live here though, and unfortunately Pasty tracks that one down. Hope will fall as well. Probably, I don't think that's a place where you can get res, but of course, our savior in flying armor. Koi for 3, and the map. Noctis will even up the score here in our C League play-ins. Basically off of Koi just being disgusting on the Pharah.
Yeah, they were just able to get into that backline so easily, and you just watch as Noctis as a team completely surrounded Terrapin, making it so difficult to find and pierce one of the sides and prevent them from going. Once they're in that far, it was just too late.
I can't imagine that we see anything else from Noctis for the rest of the night, with the exception of, you know, a Farm Pharah or Mercy ban coming out, right? Unfortunately, well, I guess that is 2 maps where Terrapin can deal with that, especially now that they know how big of a threat it is, right? Koi tried playing the Pharah on map number 1 to varying degrees of success, but, you know, with that Mercy attached, Pharah becomes a lot more threatening, harder to kill, way more damage, and Koi took over on that signature character on Numbani, so, you know, that's gotta be not even the back of the minds for Terrapin. That has to be front and center. You have to be able to deal with Koi or you will not win.
No, that's absolutely true. I mean, we have another map coming up either with Push or Flashpoint. If you're Terrapin, it seems like you could take it trying a little more of that brawly direction you did so well in Nepal. I mean, the new map is available. We've seen some already, at least one team try to use it to their advantage in play-ins in B League, and kind of they took it, made it a little of that brawl style, and actually ended up taking out the win with that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not exactly a comfortable place for Pharah, especially early on. A lot of the flashpoints, right, they have their first objectives in very enclosed spaces. You know, a couple of other places Pharah could be quite good. You know, so I am really interested to see where Terrapin goes with this, because it seemed very clear that they did prefer to be on that brawl, like you said. I imagine we're going to see a lot more Orisa from Terrapin if they can help it, right? It's been pretty... it worked out for him pretty well on that first map, as it will be Suravasa coming in for map number 2, so... It's probably going to be Orisa. I'll be honest with you. Do not quite know what the substitutions are going to look like, if we're going to get any at all. But
well, this is the first time which substitutions might be required if they haven't already subbed, since, you know, BPL does have the required playtime maneuver. So at this point, I guess it's not technically required yet, because it can still go to another map no matter what afterwards. But we're kind of getting close to that point where if you haven't subbed already, you're kind of forced to.
Well, we had a couple of subs last map. Yeah, you know, we've seen everybody, I guess, that is here for the side of Terrapin and Noctis. The only player, yeah, I mean, Virgil, Koi are the only DPS. Then Hop and Pasty and Oh No. So I think that we're pretty well set on the substitutions for this for this series. So now the question is, do we go back to the players that we saw on map number 1, right, as we head into our ban phase here? Freya and Genji both out, Ramatra and Kiriko as the Cassidy ban comes in
immediately taken out
from Noctis. So no DPS here to be banned by Terrapin. So I guess we will see. It's just, you know what that is, Headrummer? That is a protection on the Pharah. So I imagine we probably see a Mercy ban.
I don't know. It's interesting because I really don't feel like Pharah is super good. I feel like Pharmacy is honestly really abusable on the Flashpoint maps with how flankable it is. And I thought Terrapin, especially in their first map, had really good Tracer gameplay working on their team to put that pressure behind them. And the Mercy ends up being pretty vulnerable to Tracer. And that's actually Noctis taking out the cast themselves honestly might make it even easier for Tracer if they play it.
I think that Noctis doesn't care, right? Because Koi, having played the tank all
Orisa.
season long, that's crazy. I guess it's not too insane because it does mean that Noctis is going to be able to ban Pharah and Mercy guaranteed on the last 2 maps where, the characters could become a little bit stronger. But I was assuming that, Terrapin and Spooky would want to go back to the Pharah. So it
could be
clear.
We did see Noctis ban Ram here in the first point. Orisa really strong to Ram, so maybe Terrapin just wants to run it down on Ram.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good shout. I think that the only feasible options other than that are like Malga and Junker Queen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Strong rush contenders, as we do have at least one substitution on the side of Terrapin. Pika will be exiting the lineup once again. Kisho Kitty coming back in here for map number 3. Not quite up to date on what's happening on the Noctis side, but the bans, I think that the Cassidy was definitely kind of a twofold ban. Hit scan, strong into Pharah, whatever, but it protects the Pharah from being banned. So even if this win does go to Noctis, Terrapin will have the advantage of being able to ban both the Pharah and the Mercy over the next 2 maps.
Yeah, absolutely. This playoffs being a first of 3, it kind of really changed the dynamic now of how teams do their subs, do their bans. Because at first of 2 for a lot of the regular season, it's, you lose the first map and you're already on match point. And teams know oftentimes in those moments, they have to get their subs out early, they have to get their bans in early, because if you don't, you're down quite fast. And we're seeing a little teasing right now. We are seeing the tease of Koi on that Pharah again. So you actually might have been quite right, Fletch, in that we might just see them run it down, try to have all those different angles. And Terrapin teasing the Ramatra, seemingly looking like a lot of what we thought here. I think, okay, Ball, I will say, is really, really good on Servaros as a whole. If Terrapin is able to get these picks out, especially on the Mercy, which I would say is probably the most vulnerable person in this composition, then a lot of Noctis' comp will fall apart, but this Ball could cause him an issue.
Yep, here we go. Mark it in here for the side of, I guess both teams are attacking this objective here as Koi from the high ground, but Virgil beating the Helix rocket there to Tim Weak as Koi gets active, trying to take care of Feed Stacker with the help of Pasty. Going to be rolling through here, getting a lot of damage with that roll for the side of Noctis. Terrapin does end up getting the flip here, so they are moving up this percentage, right? Already past 25%, you're going to get to 30, but it will be Noctis that takes the first fight.
Yeah, a really long extended fight with somehow Terrapin capping first. It just gives them a lot of early point progress. Terrapin kind of really struggling just by the fact they lost Tim Week so early in that, and the Tracer in this composition is really, really key into putting pressure on that backline and make it so they can't play as aggressively.
Here we go, Casey looking into the backline, trying to get rid of C Sharp. Ooh, very, very lucky to get away alive there with that adaptive shield. Koi just pumping in the damage in the front line. Not much that Ramatra can do comfortably. It's going to be up to Feed Stacker to get rid of this Pharah as the Rocket Barrage comes down, cleans up a couple there. Koi does end up falling. And I mean, there's really just not much that the rest of Terrapin can do.
Yeah, and this is when the Noctis comp can get a little scary as they start getting their combos. This point in particular can be really, really strong for Pharah once you have that control. It's really difficult to kind of get back in due to how all the engines kind of work and Pharah having to go low. But once you're in, it's good. And now Pasty has the mines, which are just brutal when you hold these points.
Yeah, we're going to see the sound barrier down from Kisho Kitty, Minefield down as well. Tim Week going in as the Pulse Bomb doesn't quite find the pick, but Virgil does. Not great here for Terrapin on this first objective. Noctis locks that one up as we head over to, looks like it's going to be the Garden.
Yeah, Noctis really kind of showing their style and showing why they have been playing this competition. Virgil, again, getting so many of these early picks.
Not even just that, is getting rid of the Tracer in the backline. I think Virgil has been the player to get that first pick on a Tim Week in all of the fights thus far. Tim Week threw down a Pulse Bomb earlier, so not quite up there just yet, as we're going to see the overclock in from Feed Stacker. Does help to take down Koi there, as well as that Ravenous Vortex helping out. The Annihilation, or rather the Tactical Visor is helping out this fight, but it will be Terrapin locking it down as it is just Pasty left.
Yeah, this is definitely a point that struggles a little bit more. Terrapin had a few ultimates. They were able to make that engage and get an early pick on the Pharah, who ends up being so much of that pressure on the side. Now, that is something Noctis can do, fighting on a little bit all these sides.
Okay, you can't go down if you're spooky here. The Annihilation will help out with that. So will the Orbital Ray. The Annihilation did come out as well as the Orbital Ray, but neither of them did exactly what I thought that they would do there for the side of it. Terrapin. Slam gonna come down as the flip will come through for Noctis.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit of what we used to see last year, actually, at Stockholm, where we saw TM kind of playing the Pharah into the Malga comp, and they just end up using that barrage to take down the Malga whenever they ulted. And a similar thing's happening right now onto the Ramattra Spooky.
Well, Tim Week finally getting that first pick. Spooky tracking it down. Koi is Virgil again, this time with a Mercy Pocket. It helped take down Tim Week. Will now just head to the objective. Moved off, not quite going to be able to contest, but they will get one more shot at this Garden before Terrapin takes it.
They will. They're not really holding on any ult right now besides potentially the Valkyrie, but the double support ult, as well as coming up on ult for Soj, puts them in a pretty good spot to sustain pretty much everything. This Baptiste right now is really helping to put additional pressure on the Pharah.
Right, well, there is the Baptiste using the overclock, and Virgil explodes there in this fight thanks to said overclock and Matrix. Res comes through onto Virgil, but Hope is dead. Sound barrier down from Kisho Kitty. Hope, Hop, and Virgil both out of the fight, and so too is Koi. Now Pasty slowed down by the Ravenous Vortex. Very, very lucky to get away alive there, as it will be point for Terrapin.
Yeah, now we're starting to see a little bit of the limitations of Noctis' comp. Once they get control of one of those interior spaces, it can be so nice to be able to spam on the inside, but once you lose kind of that engagement, it's so difficult to get back in, and the ults on Terrapin's side are just better.
Hop needs help and will be able to slide away for a moment as Annihilation comes out, helps to take down Koi with Sky, having to babysit Hope in the face of Tim Week. Can't be there to help your Pharah and the rest of your team, so it will be Terrapin pretty comfortably taking this as Tim is dead again.
Yeah, but it looks like Pasty wants to go back in and touch this. They don't want to let this up.
Gonna need to use that. That's not exactly what I was hoping would. Oh. Okay. Yeah, that's not exactly what I was hoping would happen with Pasty, right? You needed to be able to use that the adaptive shields, but they just weren't there for Pasty. You needed those for the re-engage, and now we see Koi fall, and this whole investment from Noctis is basically pointless.
It is, and we're seeing how Terrapin's comp how it just gets better and better as the fights go on, as they level up with their perks. I think the perks that come into play with Terrapin composition just get really good. Vat becomes more survivable against the dive. Tracer gets more recall and has more uptime. And the Ram's first good.
Pacey getting stuck by the pulse bomb, not exactly comfortable, has to roll back. You know, the Wrecking Ball can come back into this fight very, very quickly. Koi dropping Tim weak there. Kisho and Tim, neither are in the fight at the moment. Spooky slammed. Only a couple seconds left in this Nemesis form. Gets the Immortality Field, but thrown right out of it instantly.
Mercy.
We need to get rid of this Immortality Field. The Immortality Field kept Spooky so comfortable in this fight, despite being so damn low. And it allowed the space for the playmakers of Noctis to take the fight themselves.
Yeah, we're seeing Spooky get so much value out of this slow from Ram. It's constantly pulling either the Fair, the Mercy down, the ball's trying to roll through it, and just like getting stuck. And it's allowing them to kind of catch out these individual players, especially when the Ram perks can do the 50 explosion damage, and Tim Weak takes down Hope early.
Yeah, that's not great. Pacey going to look to move in here. Annihilation down. Not really a defensive ultimate. They just don't have them in this composition for Noctis. Virgil does drop Tim, and despite Terrapin winning this map, you know, in basically all facets, I'm genuinely curious how many times Tim has died.
Yeah, it's so difficult, but Noctis actually comes with a lot of ults right now.
Yeah, we're gonna see Orbital Ray, the Valkyrie, and the Tactical Visor. Kisho Kitty dropping the sound barrier, only landing on the 2 players, but that's because everybody else is dead. So Spooky does end up coming in with the Nemesis form. It gets rid of the Virgil, but Virgil will be res here. Pulse Bomb is out, and Sky flies in. The stick does help to take down Sky, but it's not going to be a comfortable fight as Koi drops the only player that could have helped.
Yeah, Noctis does take the point eventually, but Terrapin, because they capped so early, they actually were able to get 41% out of this, which is not too bad. They'll be back in plenty of time to be able to contest it at a similar range for themselves.
Koi versus Tim going at it here on the sidelines. Pacey will slam down onto the back line. Immortality Field invested. Minefield ready to go should Pacey want it, and they will. Slide will come through, going to put these players in very uncomfortable situations. You know, they do lose Hop here, but Virgil again taking down Tim Weak is going to, you know, alleviate a lot of the pressure on the back line. Slam down onto Feed Stacker. And Rammer, it's looking like this point is inching closer to a 5-point map.
It really is, and you see how annoying Noctis' comp can be once they get control of the point, because they don't really...
Okay, I think our bald man has died maybe, but Hop goes down here now on the Lucio. Not a lot of healing coming in from Noctis. The flip comes through for Terrapin. Slam down, Feed Stacker falls. Virgil dropped by the headshot of, or Virgil drops C-Sharp by virtue of a headshot. Now a 3 versus 3 in this fight. Tim Weak pulse bombs out, does not connect, but the Ravenous Vortex will kill Virgil. Slam down from Pacey, but has to get out, needs to stay alive. They need to be able to touch this point late. It seems like our bald man has died indeed. Blue screen from Headrammer. Last fight here on the ruins. Need a touch. Need something. They will get the touch. It's going to be Koi. Slam down Minefield as well. Ready to go. Overclock from Feedstack. Going to claim 1 sound barrier down. Tim Weak very, very low. They can't get rid of Sky. Hasty is quite low, but Virgil has been so good. Okay, instantly taken back down. Pacey does end up falling. So it will be Terrapin taking map number 3 here in this series. Seems like I'm going to be by myself for the foreseeable future. So it's time for the podcast, guys. I'm going to open chat. And I'm gonna, you know, how y'all doing? To be honest with you, that is such an important map for Terrapin to have won, right? Because they didn't ban a Mercy or Pharah on that map. So now for the final 2 maps, whether Noctis wins those maps or not, they're going to be able to either ban Pharah or Mercy. Hi guys, it's me, the In the Flesh show. It's gonna be so important. It's such a big deal here in this series because Noctis got their first map win on the map where Koi and Sky were able to comfortably drop the bombs from the sky, and as soon as Sorvasa came around, the Far Mercy got a little bit weaker, and now that they won this map, that's not in the cards anymore. So now it will be, of course, Noctis's first. We'll get the map selection, but I'm really curious to see what the rest of this series is going to shake out like. Welcome back, old man. I think maybe. I remember in the call, guys. Yeah, it's first to three. First to three. Yeah, as we see our 4 potential maps to be selected here by Noctis, Rialto, Watchpoint Gibraltar, Route 66, and Junker Town. I think a good thing that Noctis has in their bag here is that they could go back to a dive map in Watchpoint Gibraltar, right? They got a lot of value out of the dive on Numbani. So it would not surprise me, despite neither of these teams. Yeah, there you have it. The pick will come through onto Watchpoint Gibraltar. Basically, what I was thinking, like, Noctis kind of dominated on Numbani, where dive was the predominant gameplay. And despite having not played this map at all throughout the season for either team, I feel like this is the right pick, because even if they don't exactly know the numbers here as we get into our bans, the Diva ban going to come out from Okay, so it's going to be Noctis. They're going to be able to play Pharah Mercy here on a dive map where they're at their strongest, right? This is just going to be another scenario like we saw on Numbani, because the Diva wasn't going to be played. I don't understand this hero ban. I don't get it. Ban the Winston. Make them play something different. They already beat you on a dive composition. It's so strange to see this ban come out from Terrapin. So, hi Knock.
Hello.
I got it covered, bud.
You got it covered? You want a solo?
I can. Do you want to do this? Like,
I don't know. I tried playing and Thea thought it was pretty bad, so.
Okay. I mean, I can do it. I can figure it out. I'll be alright.
Oh, you look great on stream there by yourself.
Hi guys. Hi Knock.
Oh man.
All right. But yeah, I don't know if that was the right pick there from Terrapin, to be honest with you, Knock.
The Diva or the
Diva
map?
ban. The Diva ban. No, I like the Noctis map pick because they won on Numbani. Nobody was playing Diva, Knock. They had all the power. They had all the power in the world to ban Pharah or Mercy, and they banned neither of them.
I think this might be a protect ban because they want to play Hazard, maybe. So Spooky just wants to keep running it.
Man, I don't know. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. We haven't seen anybody play Diva. Both teams were, wanting to play Hazard or Winston. But even if that's the case of them wanting to play the Hazard, right? They lost to the Winston on all of my information that I've seen tonight tells me that Terrapin was setting up to be able to ban Far Mercy on these last 2 maps. So basically all of my talking points for the last hour and a half have gone out the window.
Yeah, that's fair. I have not been paying attention at all. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think any of the observers actually knew what was happening in the game. So we're just here now.
What good are you, bro? Like,
I'm just sitting here waiting for Noctis to ban someone. Tim Weeks put a big thing about a VOD of something. There was a widow incident, and I don't know. Anyways, we have a ban.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
I can smell food. Now I'm hungry. Okay, Tracer. Like,
Same.
I hate that, right? Because,
Yeah.
you know, even if they were kind of bullying Tim on the Tracer, on Suravasa, they've wanted to play it all series long. And Koi really doesn't seem to want to play that, despite Koi being actually quite competent on Tracer. From what I've seen throughout the night, it's clear that they just want to play Pharah. So,
Did we
you know,
just put in all caps another target ban for the best player in the lobby?
so somebody can just tell that guy, stop dying to Soldier 76.
Apparently, we might get Agua into cast for Theo instead of me, which would be great. Because then no one has to hear me listen to talk.
Dude,
so.
dude, listen, I could do this by myself. I hate you, so
What?
I want you out.
All right.
Hello,
Goodbye.
Agua. Goodbye. Hello, Agua.
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Get that guy out of here. He smells like a cow. Hell. All right. Well,
I had a beef sandwich for lunch.
I didn't eat lunch. And you know what? Actually, my lunch was a slice of cookie cake. And it was pretty baller.
Was it good though?
Yeah, it was baller. I mess with heavy cookie cake heavy.
I love cookie cake.
Always the best part's always the crust, I think, with the icing on it.
I'm not too much of an icing
I
guy,
don't-
but
I don't
honestly,
like
with how little there is on cookie cake, I think it's fun.
Yeah, I think that there's too much icing possible, for sure. I also had a big burrito for dinner.
Oh yeah, what kind?
I got that from Freebird. Freebird World Burrito. It was just a steak burrito,
Sick.
beans and rice. Not exactly the works, but
Hey, I guess the job done. You know.
yep. All right. Well, we are working to get things figured out. So, as I was saying before, so we can get back into the the Overwatch here. Watch points brawl through the map selected here by Noctis. It's not surprising as they kind of dominated on Numbani, where dive was being played, with Pasty on the Winston. Winston did not get banned here. I think that the ban from Terrapin is worthless, to be honest with you. They banned the Diva, which Terrapin was not playing. So, or rather Noctis was not playing. So, do with that information what you will. I guess we'll have to see as the series comes in. But I don't know, man.
I mean, like in a normal game, I would say, oh, it's a fine ban. Nobody likes Diva that much. But if they've been running Pharmacy, I see very little reason for a Diva ban.
Well, I mean, the problem is that it's been clear to me that Rush is preferred for Terrapin, which is whatever. Like, sure that it's the C League, that's normal. The one time that they did play Dive, they lost, right? They lost pretty badly. They finished the map, but then Koi on the Pharmacy, Koi and Sky, they come in, they dominate on the attack. They finish with a little more time, full hold, all that good stuff. So I do not understand the Diva ban. If you were going to ban a tank, I think you ban Winston, right? Because that is what Pasty was, doing with Koi. Otherwise, this comp is basically bar for bar what we saw on Numbani for Noctis.
Spicky having the Reinhardt.
Well, I guess that's a lie.
I mean, that'd be interesting. It's definitely a way to go. I would say, like, unironically, this the comp Noctis on is like perfect if they are expecting Reinhardt. Luckily, looking like he's gonna go over to the Hazard. But this is about what I was expecting from Noctis, keeping the Pharah. I mean, Corey's just been dominant on it, and then hit scan of some kind. With a nice monkey on a brig.
Yeah, and Sky, you know, not exactly, you know, I thought that they would keep the Mercy. Obviously, it appears as though that they will not. So now the attack here for Terrapin. Pasty having to try and avoid the Dynamite does a beautiful job of that, taking a couple of shots from the snipers here on the side of Terrapin. Timweek has to drop back down. Sky is alone. That's unfortunate.
I didn't see him drop.
Okay.
But, I mean, hey, Virgil gets beat up.
I mean, Virgil's kind of fragging on the Soldier 76. Did well last map despite kind of the abysmal performance overall from Noctis. Virgil has come in swinging on the 76, and as Koi cleans up Spooky, that'll be a minute off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, Noctis just doing a solid job of just seeing who's split and taking care of him. I mean...
Shots coming out from Feedstacker on the low ground. Connecting on a Pasty has to use the coach gun, will get over to the other side, but there is a scientist behind you there, Feedstacker, and bro did not know it. Clen's gonna come out there onto Tim as the counter dive will come through. Unfortunately, Pika Bandito is, that was an animation canceling sleep. Sleep there on it to the Hazard will be, you know, annoying, but ultimately inconsequential. Koi does take down one more, but the objective will finally begin to move forward here for Terrapin.
Yeah, I mean, a little unexpected, but G-Sharp getting really aggressive on they're able to get a great nade. Looks like Pacey actually gonna trade Timweek, though.
Yeah, and able to jump back to this high ground positioning. Gonna get some healing from their supports on a Brig. Sleep out will not connect. Spooky kind of turned the wrong direction right now. That is not where the damage is coming from. Pasty very lucky that that health pack was there. The bola shots come out, will not connect. Nice little shot there on the Pasty. Did not quite have that primal rage ready to go. Virgil does not have a clue that there is a very, very angry Scotsman shooting at them from the side. 90 seconds on the clock, and it looks like Terrapin will be able to roll through A.
Yeah, I mean, Pasty just got a... what's the word? A little impatient there, just kind of... instead of waiting to get up, opting to just jump off high ground, even though he's close to the primal rage, and just gets big first, unfortunately.
Alright. Spooky with the downpour ready to go. Could hold Pasty in position to help take care of that Winston. Unfortunately, that jump not quite high enough to get to the high ground. Pasty has to pop the primal rage because it was antied there. Will be able to juggle down Feedstacker now, looking over towards this Freya. Pasty with these primal rages has been so lethal. The swift step gonna come through. Pika will be able to live as the sleep does not connect. The nade there did connect, so help Pika to stay in that fight. But now Spooky is the one under duress, and it will be Noctis retaining their hold just about halfway through this point.
I mean, just beautiful job on the monkey here from Pasty. I mean, great primal rage, and yeah, that was only primal and rally. That's not bad. For Noctis
both teams has got 3 ultimates ready to go here. Visor Blade Nano. Could see a Nano Blade onto Koi, which we will see. Dragon Blade pull, and not even a chance to respond with that cleanse as Koi. Doesn't matter what this guy's on. Oh, nice little deflect there. Take care of Tim Weak, and yeah, you know, recognizing that the fare's a little worse here on B, goes over to Genji and doesn't disappoint.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, just classic Nano Blade combo. Nice timing. Pasty able to follow up as well. I think he unfortunately took one from Koi, but a fight win's a fight win.
Okay, Spooky with the downpour still. Still 3 ultimates, getting very close to a couple more here for Terrapin, almost having all 5. C Sharp close, very, very close to this nano. I'm, assuming that it's just going to be put onto Spooky. That wall is going to bounce off of the bubble. Tim Week falls in this mega room, and Feed Stacker, unfortunately, and you know what, does get the cleanse, I guess. Does help to take down Hop, and despite that, Sky and Pasty take care of business in that very, very small room where Ash is less effective, we'll say. Ooh, that's not good.
I mean, a good wall by Spooky. They're able to deny SkyJ from leaving that. Now he gets a nano. Can he get something with this?
I mean, the W key is glued to the keyboard trying to, and unfortunately, that nano doesn't amount to much as Pasty continues to raise hell in the backline. Gonna pop the Primal Rage, gonna find the juggle there onto Spooky. Now going in here on it to Feed Stacker. The Primal, dude, this guy looks like Fearless right now. Like, it's unreal.
I mean, like, looking like Fisher with the Vancouver Titans. There's gonna be flashes of that for like the 1 week he was there. But I mean, just beautiful primal from Pasty. I mean, what more to say?
All right, well, now 4 ultimates on the side of Terrapin, outpacing Noctis at the moment, but they've only got 15 seconds left. Bob comes out, Tim Weeks low, Koi with the Dragon Blade finds 2, going to find a 3rd, except Pasty comes in for that. Feed Stacker does end up taking down the Genji with the Bob. They need to touch the point to get back on with just under a second left, but Spooky and Pika not exactly healthy. That downpour just came in way, way, way too late, and I mean, it's just not going to be enough here. Feed Stacker does help to take it down, a couple of players here on a fall. C Sharp, Tim Week, and it will be Noctis holding here. They just look unfallible on the dive.
Yeah, I mean, just excellent control of the space. Whether it's like anyone gets split at any moment, they're ready to absolutely punish it. Whether it's just like something with the ult or just a simple classic dive. And Pasty's just been looking lethal on the Winston. I mean, 21 elims.
6,500 damage is crazy too. I mean, that's what you expect from like a Winston, right? Never dying, but always involved, right? That's a peak Winston gameplay right there, and I mean, there's really not much more that you could ask of your tank player. As I mean, Koi also not doing too shabby on that Genji. Obviously would prefer to be playing the Pharah, but not too much of a problem presented right now as Terrapin have got a lot of ground to make up here on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that really killed Terrapin was just no cart presence whatsoever. I mean, cart, as soon as it was Captain First, I don't know that it moved very much. I mean, Tim going over to this, looks like he's going to start with the Reaper once again, as he did last map. We'll see what he's able to get here.
Yeah, I mean, he tried it for sure on Numbani. Oh, I hope it goes better this time. For the sake of Terrapin. Widowmaker from the side of Virgil, gonna try and pop a shot, will not connect there. Nobody wants to give them the head though, as Virgil continues to hold this angle. Point moving basically unstopped here. C Sharp trying to keep this point healthy, as the engagement there from Tim Week forces out the Wraith form, and Tim Week just goes down here. Spooky very, very low, no block to be heard of. That will be the deaths of many here for the side of Terrapin.
Yeah, I mean, nice little trade from Feed Stacker, but it's just not enough. They just seem kind of disconnected on the dive. I mean, Tim and Spooky, they're dropping, try to contest cart under, but the supports stayed high ground. Couldn't really help, obviously, with a giant platform between them.
All right, well, the Spooky's dead again. Unfortunately, now Koi going in on this Brigitte, and this is a little bit quicker than what we saw out of Terrapin on their attack. There's 5 minutes to get 40 meters, and that is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, dominant from Noctis. I mean, they just know what they want to do with this dive comp and do it to a great success.
Yeah, I mean, that's just map. That's just map, right? You know, Spooky will not be able to touch Dragon Blade pulled by Koi, but it's just for show. That was certainly a map. Far, you know, less competitive than what we saw on Nunbani. You know, I was talking about how they dominated. Noctis did, you know, win that pretty comfortably on Nunbani. But, you know, they only finished with a second more on their first attack, right? But this time, they just kind of start to finish. This was their map to lose. It's clear to me that they are far more comfortable on the dive. They are, I mean, unreal. Like Koi got forced off of the Pharah and still dominate, right? Like, the Genji from Koi really didn't look that much different than the Pharah. And to be honest with you, even if they had banned the Pharah or the Mercy, wouldn't have mattered. They didn't really play a whole lot of the Mercy. They switched off of the Pharah. So they still have that in their bags in map number 5, which we're going to a map 5, by the way, in the first streamed series of the playoffs, which is awesome. But yeah, this is not exactly going down how I thought it would.
I mean, it was definitely interesting. I mean, I definitely just think Noctis. If you're Noctis, I feel like there's no way you don't try to stay the dive with how dominant you've looked so far. But we'll see what map Terrapin wants to choose to try to enable their own style of brawl.
All right. Well, map 5 on the horizon here in this Noctis Terrapin grudge match to get into the playoffs. We will be cutting to a short break here. When we come back, one of these teams is getting knocked out of BPL Season 7. 5th map right around the corner. Stick around. I guess we're not. Okay. That's awesome too. Thanks, Solomon. I don't have to go to the bathroom at all. Okay. You can't see my floor, but a little bit of a tumbleweed just rolled through. So, yep. I guess we're not going to a break, guys. We do know what Terrapin's map is going to be. It's going to be Busan, which doesn't surprise me even a little bit. Right? They've been far more comfortable on the brawl all night long. 2 maps they've lost. They had 2 maps that they've had to get off of that composition. So going to Busan, where the brawl is quite strong, not even a little bit surprising.
I don't know. I don't remember what the map choices were. I don't know if there were more dive favored maps, but honestly, I still like this for Noctis. I think 2 out of 3 of the maps are very diveable. I think the only one that isn't exactly great, and they'll definitely try to probably match some of the rush, is Mecha Base. But with the other 2, I could definitely see them still having success with this monkey dive, should they choose it.
Yeah, well, it's I don't know what the other maps would have been. Not exactly the smartest, the sharpest knife in the cabinet, but we could have gone to either Lijiang Tower or Ilios. So the thing that I'm kind of surprised about is that Terrapin doesn't take us to Lijiang, which is very, very much a pretty good brawl map, like very, very good on basically all of the points. Right, Busan is a little bit more flexible. like you said, right? I do think that I favor the brawl a little bit on a couple of those maps, but it is very, very doable. So I'm sitting here, I'm left here questioning, the Terrapin picks and bans once again, right? Especially because, I mean, if they don't ban, right, like Pharah, right, they're gonna protect the Pharah by getting rid of Sojourn, which is a great ban, to be honest with you. So I don't know. With how this series is shaken down, I do favor Noctis. I agree with you on this 5th map.
Yeah, I mean, Sojourn, just a good character, good overall ban. It doesn't really matter. Noctis has their choice. They can lean more towards the Pharah stuff if they're feeling it. Or honestly, they could still stay with the dive, with the Genji. I mean, Koi is looking lethal with that Dragon Blade.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. I guess we'll ban Winston on the song. Yeah, sure. I mean, it'll force the brawl a little bit more heavily, I suppose. Sure. I don't hate it. I guess I'm overreacting a little bit. It's a fine ban. It's a fine ban. I think both these bans are fine. I think that, Koi is just going to be able to rain hell from the sky, right? There's going to be basically nothing to stop Koi from doing the Far Mercy thing again. And that kind of worries me for Terrapin.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fine ban for Terrapin, trying to get rid of the monkey for specifically probably downtown. But I mean, if I remember correctly, Pasty did pull out the Wrecking Ball, so I could see on some
but
maybe.
It didn't look great. I don't think that's what they would prefer.
We'll end up seeing what they decide on once we get into this map. I'm very intrigued to see what both sides decide to roll up on.
Okay, so now for show and tell as we wait to get in here. Shark Cup. Shark Cup.
Sick.
Shark Cup.
You got Dallas Aquarium?
Yeah, I went there last weekend.
How sick.
It's very cool aquarium. It's got monkeys, which this map won't. So
Isn't that just like
cool.
a zoo? Or
No, it was all indoors.
okay.
It's called an aquarium. There is an aquarium in there. Like it has sharks and stuff.
That I just never expected to see monkeys at the aquarium.
Not big monkeys, like little monkeys.
Oh, okay.
Like monkeys the size of your hand. Little monkeys. And you know what? I told my dad, because he was visiting this weekend, that if I could pick any animal to be in the world ever, I would want to be one of the little tiny monkeys at the aquarium. Because they just have life made, man. Get to play around all day with their little monkey buddies, eat grapes. It's awesome.
I mean, that sounds cool. Just being adorable and just like eating grapes. That sounds awesome.
And even some of the monkeys get to crawl around outside of their enclosures.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if as a monkey. Actually, I feel like if I was a small little monkey like that, I feel like I'd be scared to just like go outside my enclosure. I would just stay inside and eat grapes, you know?
Sure. Of course, the monkeys that were outside of their enclosure were like medium-sized monkeys, like, half shin height, knee height maybe. But monkeys know more, as we, of course, are on the one map where the dive will not work. Gonna be Mecha Base up here for the first sub-map. Pasty is on the Reinhardt. I can't imagine that that's going to vary too much. But, alright, here we go. The rush on this map, very, very strong.
Absolutely. Virgil looking towards more of the May, while Tim going over to the Junkrat, actually.
Oh, That was a juicy, juicy fire strike there from Pasty. The ice block has to be popped. Spooky's Nemesis form will run out here very, very quickly as Koi rolls around, takes down a Feed Stacker. Off to a great start here is Noctis. Need something big from this Nemesis form. The pin could be incredible, but moved off the high ground is Pasty. No one to assist. Pop could throw down this Immortality Field, but actually doesn't even need to. They just get enough healing on it to Pasty that it will not matter as Koi finds a second pick. Now that Immortality Field comes down, and Virgil will go into the water, but Koi is just already got a Deadeye?
But it might not matter.
It might not
Feedstacker.
matter, yeah, okay.
Feedstacker just getting disgusting picks. I think that's 4 from Feedstacker, maybe even 5. Oh, I mean, he's just get picked off early, but comes back in time and is able to just clean up the fight on when all the resources are down. I mean, what a great play from Feedstacker, and has a noon of his, close to a noon of his own now.
We've also got Riptire here, which could be insane. Timweek can't die though. Now we're gonna see the Earth Shadow come down. Will not connect sound barrier. Answers here. Riptire will help take these players down, and Spooky will fall, but there are no supports to assist with the continued fight. Trap, headshot, all the above, and what the hell is that, Tim? Oh my goodness.
Oh, that was 3 ults from the side of Terrapin, but unfortunately for Noctis, they matched it with 3 of their own, being both support ults and a Shatter. But Virgil has this Blizzard. We'll see if he can find something here. Up to go in right now. Can he get something with it?
That was insanely confident there of Feedstacker, who gets the sound barrier. Stays alive. They take down Pasty because of it.
I mean, what a beat from Kishore Kitty. I did not expect the beat to come out there, and he just perfectly just saves head Feedstacker, who gets pinned cross map from Pasty. But it didn't even matter.
Yeah, that was unreal by the side of Noctis, whilst Pasty heads over to the Zarya. I mean, not exactly the worst thing in the world, especially into a Junkrat, but you can't just blow both bubbles like that, unfortunately. If you're going to play Zarya into this comp, you have to be patient, but because of the fact that they were not, this first submap is going to go to Terrapin.
I mean, Zarya honestly really tough in here. I feel it's very hard not to explode with a Junkrat and a Ram just able to brawl you, and they're not even going to be able to get touch here on the side of Noctis.
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. That was, of course, you know, the worst possible start that you could have had on, you know, this map for Noctis, right? Very clearly, Terrapin wants to play the rush composition, and that is the best place for it, right? So, Mega Base out of the way, of course, Terrapin does end up taking that point, but Noctis still not out of this fight yet. We head over to downtown.
Pasty, gonna go over to the Diva comp here. Virgil gonna go back to the Soldier. He looked very good on it. We'll see what kind of weird little angles he can get on this map.
All right, well, here we go. Downtown. Series point. Playoff life on the line for Noctis as Timweek goes in, forced to use the recall. Not exactly in the most comfortable place there as Pasty is already losing that mech there. Koi does come in, get the trade there. As the deflect comes through, Feedstacker though waits out the deflect, takes down Koi, takes down Pasty, locks down the point for Terrapin.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Pasty loses mech. Koi trying to make a play there, but unfortunately can't do the great stop from Feedstacker. We'll see what Noctis chooses to do here. Looks like they're just gonna walk down main.
Alright, well,
And
Virgil's
gone.
Yeah, Timweek finally getting that revenge for whatever Virgil was doing to him on Suravasa. This looks like a different player at this point from what we saw the last couple of maps. Tim is just uncontrolled, decides to be a nightmare.
I mean, it just feels like he's unchecked. Virgil gonna move over the Tracer himself, seeing if he can keep Tim. We can check, but Tim does have this pulse bomb. We'll see what he tries to get here. Hopefully, he can at least force a cooldown.
There's a Lucio behind y'all. Do they know? Chat, do they know? No, they don't. Okay, Nisha's still on the high ground, and Pasty's gonna lose the mech again, man. This is just not great. Koi does come in with another good pick, recall forced out of Tim, but to be honest with you, it's just kind of, they flip. Sure. It just kind of felt like Koi, go kill everyone you can, and unfortunately when you can only kill one, it's just never going to be enough.
Pasty giving up the D.Va, gonna look over to go to the Junker Queen. Honestly, I definitely like it more than the D.Va, but I don't know how much I like it overall. We'll see if they're able to get a nice little knife and punish somebody.
Alright, well, here's the Deadeye from Feed Stacker. It's gonna pop Sky there. Flashbang will not connect though, as Koi forced to use the deflect far earlier than I'm sure he wanted to, but it now at 85%. This is just not looking good here, Agua. I think that this is going to be the series here. Kind of going out with a whisper here for Noctis. C-Sharp throws down the Kitsune Rush. It's just Koi and Virgil left here. Pasty falls as well, and yeah, that's game. This will be the end of Noctis' season. Sound barrier will mean that Dragon Blade is worthless. Going out, unfortunate there is Noctis, but they did play their hearts out throughout the rest of this series. So, Terrapin, they will move on to play one more game, I believe, for a spot in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, well fought from both sides. Unfortunately, Noctis is gonna head out now. I will say special shout out to SkyJ, who just got added to the roster like today, I think. But unfortunately, that's going to be the end of the season for Noctis as a whole. Good from Terrapin, just understanding how they went on their style and just trying to deny the enemy theirs. So, I mean, you play to your strengths, you win.
Yeah. So I was wrong. Terrapin do not have to play another game to get into the playoffs. They are here. They are in the top 4 now. It's just going to be a matter of who they go against as we get a quick look. The play-ins hopefully will be finished up this weekend. Log Racers versus the Bear, the next game to be played, and then the winner of that one will have to go up against Boa for a spot in the top 4. So, you know, we haven't quite locked down the final 4 here in the C League, but we are getting very, very close.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see who ends up being facing Boa, but I would hate to face Boa. Boa looks very, very strong. It's crazy to me that they like 3rd seed.
Are they? Let me look at the speed. Yeah, they're the 3rd seed. Went 6-1. Kind of. Yeah, I mean, getting to check out and see who you have to play. You know, a little bit of that privilege as we get a quick look at our schedule for the weekend here. For Saturday, I guess there are no games on Friday. AR High Noon versus Wood at 8 p.m., as well as that Log Racers the Bear game. Whoop Troop versus Campfire Song at 8:30. And then cleaning it up with Chunga's Fungus versus Spud Clusters at 9:30 p.m.
We potentially might move that around based on schedule, but we'll end up seeing what happens. But hey, go Spud Clusters.
Yeah, go team. Now we have a look at our Sunday matches. We've got our Polaris versus Camp Half Court at 6:30. Then we jump all the way to 8 o'clock for our next 3 matches. Requiem, Camp Jump Shot, Borealis, Bluff Creek, Big Mode, Birdwatch, Daybreak, and then one more at 9:30. Well, once more at 9:30 versus Camp Half Burger. So, you know, a couple of matches coming up this weekend. Unfortunately, none tomorrow. So, you know, what can you do? when people aren't available. It is what it is, but, you know, a pretty good matchup tonight, even if it did end kind of on a whimper.
I mean, if you're Noctis, I don't think you go outside. I think you played really well in the dive maps, and you were close. But on the side of Terrapin, I mean, you get a nice little bit of momentum going in before playoffs. See if they're able to continue it.
Well, that will do it here for this Terrapin Noctis matchup. 3-2 in the favor of Terrapin, retaining their victory over Noctis. No revenge in sight for Noctis. So, thank you all for watching, and we will see y'all on Saturday for more play-in action.